Hey everyone, I'm back and today we're going to be talking about The Matrix Revolutions. The third one, well, if you don't count the Animatrix, the third live-action Matrix movie. And this movie wasn't great. The things that I like about this movie are some of the elements that are still there. And I liked some of the performances. I liked when we were on Zion and what was going on there and the action scenes in Zion, and those were pretty fun for me. But all the stuff in the Matrix, I just didn't really care for all that much. Especially the action scenes. That was the biggest surprise for me, is that the action scenes taking place inside the Matrix, they're not really exciting. They're kind of just recycled from the first movie. And sure, you could argue, it's the movie still doing the same thing, and if it was impressive there, why is it not impressive now? And the answer to that is because they don't really do anything new. In Reloaded, they at least had a highway chase scene, and they had new characters to go up against, not just a bunch of agents going after our main characters. And you had these ghost characters, even though I don't like them, they were at least a new addition to the film. In this movie, there isn't really anything new that I found interesting. And when it comes to paying off things that were set up in either the first film or the second movie, the payoff in this movie isn't really satisfying. And that probably has to do with the fact that I was not all that invested in this movie. And there's quite a few things that happened in this movie where it's supposed to be an emotional moment and it just didn't work for me. And I just didn't really care. The music was good in this movie, though I would have to say it was weaker in this movie compared to the first two movies. There were also some moments where I was laughing at the movie more in this movie than I was with Reloaded. In Reloaded, it was like in the third act where it gets a little unintentionally funny. This movie, the second half is when the unintentional laughs start. Ooh, there were some really bad scenes in this movie, and there's really bad dialogue that goes in this movie as well. Not all of it's bad, but some of it is really bad. The only really entertaining stuff that goes on in The Matrix is whenever we see Agent Smith. But that's about it. And Hugo Weaving, he's great in the movie. He has some really funny faces in the last action sequence in the movie. And those were pretty funny. But I think that kind of works for this universe because this whole trilogy, it doesn't take itself super seriously. Sometimes it gets a little funny and a little goofy. And in this movie, I was kind of fine with his kind of funny faces. Most of this movie just isn't really that memorable to me. And the second one, although I had plenty of issues with it, it was at least memorable for me. And the first movie especially is great. And I can remember many scenes from the first movie. And I can remember a decent amount of the second movie. But for the third movie, there isn't really any scenes in this movie that stick out to me as being memorable. There's a couple things that I can remember, a couple moments within scenes, but I can't remember the scene as a whole. I'll say this about the movie. It wasn't really boring. I was entertained for a decent amount of it, but it's just not that memorable for me. And if I'm going to watch these movies again, I'll watch all three of them, but the third one isn't great. And if you're watching all these movies, I guess you can watch the third one if you want. Mainly because the second and third movies are kind of one movie. In the same way I consider Kill Bill one movie. And the reason why I say that is because, without spoiling anything, I don't consider this a spoiler. At the end of The Matrix Reloaded, the very end, it says, "To be concluded." And that's why I consider Reloaded and Revolutions one movie. So you can watch this movie. It will give you scenes that kind of give you a payoff for what you've been waiting for, even if it's not really satisfying from, at least from myself at least. It's not the most satisfying third movie I've seen. There's plenty of third movies installments that I think are much worse than this movie and are not even the tiny bit too satisfying, but this one at least had my attention, and I don't hate this movie. And there was effort put into it, and that's overall how I feel about it. So I'm going to give The Matrix Revolutions a 5 out of 10. And really quickly, I'm going to talk about the trailer for The Matrix Resurrections because I don't have much to say about it. It was fine. The trailer was fine. It didn't really show much of anything. It kind of feels like a mix between a sequel and remake. It's probably going to be a soft reboot like, say, Halloween or Force Awakens, where it's a sequel and a remake at the same time, but I don't know what they're going to do with it. So there wasn't anything that stood out to me as bad, at the very least, from what I saw. But that's how I feel about the trailer. It was fine. Thank you for watching my videos. As always, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of The Matrix Revolutions down below. And if you want to talk about the trailer for The Matrix Resurrections, we can talk about that as well. And my social media links, they will all be in the description down below, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation. And I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that's going to be for Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master. I've never seen this movie before, but it's on Netflix, and I love Paul Thomas Anderson. I think he's a great director. But until I get that up, thank you for watching, and have a great day.